It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join News Director Paul David and News Editor Philip Catafamo as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics in Yavapai County that affect all our lives. And now here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. As always, it is great to have you in studio with us today. We've got two guests for you. Yavapai Sheriff Auxiliary Force is with us today. There's the 2022 Unit Manager for Yavapai County Search and Rescue Team Backcountry Unit, Tip Schmidt. I'm going to be looking at these names and these titles. And then Volunteer and Protection VIP Patrol Unit Coordinator Tom Blake. Welcome to studio.
Thank you.
Nice to have both of you here. Denise sent out a flyer for the Yavapai Sheriff Auxiliary Force. We received that in the mail, and that's what spurred this conversation today, because anybody who's familiar with the local stations and the local area knows that Search and Rescue and BIP are always out there. You guys are always showing up in our news as well, so we appreciate what you do and the time that you give to be able to do this. Website, ycsoaf.org. Yavapai County Sheriff's Office, AF? What's the A? Do we know what all these?
Auxiliary Force.
Auxiliary Force. Yavapai County Sheriff's Office, auxiliaryforce.org. Phone number is 928-771-3260. 771-3260. Of course, it means that. Let's jump right into it. First of all, it's not just the Volunteers in Protection. It's not just the backcountry. There are several groups that make up this auxiliary force. Tell me about the different groups that are involved. Who wants to do that?
Well, I can't speak to the VIPs, but Search and Rescue Yavapai County has a number of components. YCSRT is only one of those components. There's Verde Valley, there's Air Group, there's other groups that aren't under our umbrella.
Okay.
Within YCSRT, however, we have search dogs, we have quads, off-road vehicles, 4x4, backcountry, that's us, we're kind of the ground pounders. We do pretty much everything. We do all the helicopter operations, we do all the technical rope operations, tracking, all the ground pounding, you know, just foot search, which is actually the thing that we do the most of.
If I go out on a hike and I get lost and I call 911 and I need help and found, they're going to call you. Have you come in?
Probably.
Right.
I mean, if it's over here, then it would probably be Verde Valley
Search and
Rescue called first.
But that's when you get called.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if it is going to include a technical component, then we would automatically be dispatched, or a helicopter component, then we would automatically be dispatched, because that's a subgroup of our team.
And you're a volunteer?
I am.
You don't get paid a penny when you go out and do these things, do you?
We do get reimbursed for fuel if we drive.
Okay.
Yes.
But fuel, not time or anything else. So this is a volunteer position. And you were talking before the show that this kind of started in the late 80s.
Yes, sir.
Late 80s, and then till the present time, we decided we need search and rescue help, volunteers to go out and help out. And then the same time, you were talking about the VIP program. That's sort of a mid-90s thing that came around. I think folks are aware of the Volunteers in Protection, where you see a fully marked YCSO patrol vehicle, let's say the village of Oak Creek.
Sure.
Cornville. But yeah, give me a little bit of background on the VIP program.
Sure. The VIP program essentially has got a couple of components. One is that patrol group that you just described. So we are essentially sworn but not certified deputy sheriffs. We drive those same sheriff's vehicles that the full-time paid people drive. We support their efforts. We transport their prisoners. We back them up. We do a whole bunch of stuff. But we also have a group that works in the office. It's an administrative group that does cold cases. So there's about 7 or 8 of those who work on cold cases and help solve those. And you'll see those come up from time to time in the news.
Yeah, we had just a couple of them. There's the couple that were found dead off Bumblebee Road a while back.
Correct.
Like 20 years ago or something like that. But yeah, we do get those cold case reminders. Chris Wilson from Yavapai Silent Witness sends those to us and says, hey, would you mind running this and see if we get any extra information off of that. So, and the VIPs are also, you walked in this morning and I thought you were like a full-fledged sheriff's deputy, and you said, well, I kind of am. So let's start with you. Let's talk about some of the training you've had to go through to become a VIP. Sure.
And basically, we go through a background check. It's essentially the same thing that the full-time paid people do. We go through a psych evaluation, a lie detector test. We have drug tests. There's a physical agility test. So all of these background tests are part of that process. When we go through the academy, we have a separate academy special for us. We go through the same 40-hour firearms training that the deputy sheriffs do, the full-time paid people do. And we do the annual Virtus shooting, which is the scenario-based thing you've probably heard about, where they have the 360-degree screens, and it's a discrimination shoot where you make a decision to shoot or not shoot in a particular situation. So we do all of that stuff, and again, we're supporting what the deputies do to free them up, and that's where, again, this value comes in, because it provides money, support that the taxpayers don't have to pay for.
Sure, sure. And you were describing before the show how if a deputy makes arrest, say down in Black Canyon City, which is kind of your area, Black Canyon City mayor area, if that happens and the deputy needs to stay in that area, they'll call Tom in. Tom comes down, picks up that prisoner, and transports them to Camp Verde. Is
Correct.
it Camp Verde or Prescott? Would you take
either one, but usually we go to Camp Verde. Prescott's pretty much a holding facility right now.
Up in Camp Verde.
Ultimately, in another year or so, when the new facility's built, then they'll both be destinations. But right now, we usually go to Camp Verde because it's the permanent place, and otherwise they just have to bus them over. So we save them the extra trip of moving the prisoners.
Before we go any further, what made you decide to become a volunteer in protection? What was the deal?
I started back in California over 20 years ago as a volunteer there, and it was, again, part of wanting to be part of the community, wanting to help, wanting to do something. And at one time I actually wanted to be a sheriff's deputy, but when I was younger I couldn't see, so I didn't have the vision, and there was no surgery back then. So I pursued another path and became a geologist. But then when the volunteer programs came up in the mid to late 90s, I go, that's something that I can do. And so I was able to do that, and it fulfilled that desire to help and to do stuff and to be part of this.
How many hours do you volunteer?
Typically, it ends up being something like 70 or 80 a month, something like that. And I'm one of the lower ones. More often than not, people do more, but that's because I work. I still work full time.
Okay.
So working takes a lot of my time, so I have to squeeze it in between.
Okay, all right. And then Tip, how about you?
I was always involved in some form with the fire service. I started years ago in the Gila as a hotshot, but as I moved up through, we got more and more involved in search and rescue and helping people until we moved up here to Prescott, and then I was working as a reserve for one of the local fire agencies, and one of our paramedics came up with the idea of a formal rope rescue team for Yavapai County. We got together, formulated a proposal, went to Sheriff Buchanan, who ultimately approved it, and that was the beginning of formalized search and rescue in the county. And we get in it to help people, and because we all have interest in the outdoors, it's just a good fit.
Yeah, Tip had mentioned before the show that giving people closure sometimes is one of the best things you can do. Or I can't imagine what it's like, to be lost and you're sitting on the side of Bell Rock or something. Most folks are familiar with that, and then all of a sudden, here comes the folks in the orange, or the volunteer protection, say, "Don't worry, we've got you. We're going to come and get you." And it's going to be, it's got to be quite a weight off their shoulders.
Well, that's the reason I continue doing it, and if you don't mind, I'll relate that again.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that when people ask me why I do this, and have continued to do it for 30 years, it's always the same answer, and it's the same answer that I give them when they ask me, how could you do body recoveries? And I relate to them a story years ago in southern Arizona when we were called in to hike up a mountain and retrieve some skeletal remains and search the area. While we were doing so, we had a detective with us, and we found some tattered clothing, actually a pair of denim pants that still had the wallet in his pocket. And when we pulled out the wallet, handed it to the detective, he related to us that the individual that we had just located, his family would call him every year for the last more than a decade on the anniversary of his disappearance, and that now he could tell them, he could help them with some closure.
That's nice. Yeah, that's important. That's important. Let's take our first break. We're sitting down with 2022 Unit Manager for YCSRT Backcountry Unit Tip Schmidt and VIP Patrol Unit Coordinator Tom Blake. Website is ycsoaf.org and the phone number is 771-3260. Countywide back in just a couple minutes.
Who doesn't dream of home improvements? Perhaps your kitchen, the real living room. Maybe the bathroom, where you bookend your day. Langstrand Contracting is your one-stop shop from tear down to finishing touches. With 35 years of experience, Chris and his team will work with you to match your family's style and budget. Call Langstrand Contracting today for guidance in bringing your vision to life.
Award-winning Soundbites Grill is an entertainment restaurant located in Uptown Sedona at the Hyatt Pinion Point Resort. Open for lunch and dinner, featuring fresh fish, all-natural hand-cut beef, even a full vegan menu. Family-friendly, open 11:30 to 9, late dining on Friday and Saturday. Soundbites Grill has some of the best views of the Sedona Red Rocks. Offers world-class entertainment, food, fun, and music.
Your carpet is the largest air filter in your home, trapping dust, dirt, and germs from the air that your family members breathe, even the furriest ones.
That's why it's important to keep your carpet and tile clean and hygienic with regular cleanings by Zero-Res. Zero-Res uses state-of-the-art technology and ZR water, not soap or harsh chemicals, so zero residue is left on your home surfaces.
Schedule your appointment today because a clean home is a healthy home. Visit ZeroResNorthernArizona.com.
The mouth is the gateway to the digestive system. Studies indicate a correlation between oral health and full body health. Regular cleanings and checkups can help protect you. New patients are welcome at Arizona Smile Designers in Cottonwood. There's a full smile worth of services all offered under one roof. Whitening and cosmetic to implants and smile reconstruction. Find out more or request an appointment online at azsmiledesigners.com.
Welcome back to Countywide. We're talking about the Yavapai Sheriff Auxiliary Force. They've got their 2021 fundraiser campaign going on right now, needing funds to help support these volunteers and what they do through the Sheriff's Office to, locate missing people. YCSOAF.org is the website. The phone number is 928-771-3260. Some of the things they're involved in: large-scale searches for children and the elderly, short-haul helicopter rescues, technical rope and swift water rescues, fire and other disastrous evacuations, patrolling local communities, VIPing, vacation home security checks, also something the VIP does, the Volunteers in Protection, wildfire observation and reporting, cold case investigations, community safety events, Hug a Tree Lost Child Prevention Program. We've had those folks in and had them sit down and talk about that program and how important it is to teach your kids if they get lost in the woods what to do. Administrative services, fingerprint services, citizen or motorist assist. So that's just some of it. That's just some of it, and it's all volunteers, and it's all done by volunteers. Let me ask you guys this. How much money comes out of your pocket to be able to volunteer and do something like this? Because that's what this auxiliary force is all about. This flyer that was sent out, it was to raise funds so that so much of that has to happen in the future, but you've got to put quite a bit of money into this as well.
Yes, sir.
Who wants to go first? I mean, it's expensive.
Well, mine's pretty short, so I can touch on that. Basically, we have to provide our uniform. We're initially given a uniform when we first start, but then that eventually wears out. So you there's potential for replacing that. But things like the belt, the holster, the gun, those sorts of things, those your shoes, that kind of stuff you have to provide, and you have to keep that maintained and updated. Mm-hmm. And so you have those kinds of expenses as well as things like fuel and stuff to get from one place to another. So that's the basics of it. It amounts to hundreds of dollars a year.
Mm-hmm. And Tip?
Back when I first started, it was literally thousands of dollars a year to gear up. And now, as technology has changed what we do so much, and because we live in a litigious society, our training requirements have increased. Basically, to get a person to where we want them on the backcountry team, which means swiftwater training, technical rope rescue, EMT, costs us about $3,500 a pop per individual. That's just for training.
Okay.
We also provide harsh weather gear to the tune of about $1,000 per individual on our team. And then the gear for swiftwater and technical rescue is, off the charts. Mm-hmm. Just to properly equip somebody for a swiftwater event costs us about $2,000.
Okay. Wow.
And yeah, if we don't have the resource, coming from the community, then we eat it.
Okay. We don't want you to have to do that. You're already coming out and helping everybody, so we don't want you eating the cost of that too. How many hours do you have to do? I mean, that's going to be something that people are going to be thinking about too, because we're looking for the donations for the fundraisers, of course, is going on, but also some of you might be thinking about volunteering, because there's always a need for volunteers. And with what the pandemic has done over the last couple of years, I noticed a lot of 501c3s come in, and volunteers, of course, disappeared, but they're starting to come back again. So volunteers, do you have enough of them? And how many hours am I required, let's say per month, to give to be able to be part of this?
Well, we currently need more, absolutely, because as people get older, especially the volunteers in protection, there's issues with with your health. So you can't necessarily do some of the stuff that you might have been able to do when you were younger. So we do have a normal attrition associated with age. Mm-hmm. So yes, we do need more, absolutely. The requirement, though, is fairly minimal. We need 16 hours a month in terms of a volunteer effort. Most people put in more, but 16 is the minimum.
16 hours, huh? Mm-hmm. Is it like
and that's actually, and that was patrol. The admin, I think it's 11 or 12. I'm not sure the actual number. I can't remember. But it's a couple hours less.
But I think what we're trying to get point is that this is a very flexible thing too, right?
You pick your days, you pick your times.
Yeah, and then I've heard that also is if they need the backcountry unit or the Jeep Posse unit or any of these units to come out and help with the search of somebody, usually you get a phone call first and says, "Hey, Paul, we could really use your Wrangler today. Are you available to do that?" And if I'm not available to do that, I can say I'm not available to do that.
Yes,
is that right? Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you're not always going to be able to help, but I got to think most of you guys are jumping right in there and usually available.
It is an all-volunteer organization. Mm-hmm. People have lives, people have jobs, people have families. We have 16 active members. To pull off a major technical rope rescue, we would need pretty much all of those people. Okay. That can't or doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. So obviously we always need people. And as you said, we're getting older. Those of us that have been here for a long time are getting older, and what we do is not an old man's job. Mm-hmm. And so right now we're really on a push to try and get some younger blood in, some nice strong backs that can pick up the slack for us.
Sure, yeah. So that's always going to be important. Let's take our second break. Website, if you're interested to donate or to volunteer, ycsoaf.org is the website. I'll say it again, ycsoaf. Phone number is 771-3260. Stick around, Countywide, back in just a couple minutes.
Terrifying Jobs, Bull Rider, take 2. Cliff, this seems like a really terrifying job. Why do you do it?
I love protecting the bull riders when they get bucked up.
How big are these bulls?
12 to 2,200 pounds of pure muscle.
You're not cowed by any of this, obviously. Is there anything that scares you?
Yeah, distracted drivers terrify me.
Two things we can count on every year:
a new set of tax rules and great weather here in northern Arizona.
Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, locally owned and operated by Lewis Rice since 1997, is here for you all year long.
Your neighborhood Jackson Hewitt Tax Office will help you in all of your taxing situations.
Electronic filing is always free with your tax preparation at Jackson Hewitt Tax Service.
Get more in return. Call 1-800-234-1040 for an office near you.
The EPA says C&B Construction ranks in the top 1% nationally. C&B Construction invites you to see what energy efficiency and indoor air quality can be. We have won another Department of Energy Innovation Award, and C&B Construction is the only contractor in the country to win 6 consecutive EPA Indoor Air Plus awards. Experience our zero-energy, move-in ready homes at Crossroads at Mingus.
C&B Construction, locally respected, nationally recognized. Find out more at C&B Homes.com.
Award-winning Soundbites Grill is an entertainment restaurant located in uptown Sedona at the Hyatt Pinion Point Resort. Open for lunch and dinner, featuring fresh fish, all-natural hand-cut beef, even a full vegan menu. Family-friendly, open 11:30 to 9, late dining on Friday and Saturday. Soundbites Grill has some of the best views of the Sedona Red Rocks. Offers world-class entertainment, food, fun, and music.
Welcome back to Countywide. We've got just a few minutes left in the program. 2022 Unit Manager for the Yavapai County Sheriff's Response Team, Search and Rescue Team, Backcountry Unit, Tip Schmidt, and then VIP Patrol Unit Coordinator Tom Blake is also in studio. Website is ycsoaf.org, and then the phone number is 771-3260. I'll say that again, just a couple more minutes. So I think what we're really pushing now for the rest of the show here is if you've got an inkling that you want, you got to have a clean record.
Yes.
You mentioned record check. They're going to do a background check on you, fingerprints and everything else. So you got to have a clean record. Anything else we need to? You got to be able to go on some pretty strenuous hikes and stuff in the area. You got to be able to handle that.
Yeah. There's I'm sure a place for everyone.
Yeah.
On our team, it's very strenuous. Mm-hmm. There are less strenuous, opportunities out there. If you have any question, give Dee Dee a call. You gave her the number, mm-hmm. and she'll find a place for you.
Yeah. Denise is very helpful. She was super helpful. So yeah, if you can do the 771-3260, pick her brain for a little bit, and yeah, she could probably guide in the right direction, because you said administrative as well. So
correct.
That puts you in probably one of the YCSO substations, or in the sheriff's office itself over in Prescott. Or,
yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yes.
And just doing some of the administrative stuff that needs to be done. We don't have enough employees for it. So we got the volunteers in protection. And donations. This on the back of here, it says $25, $50, $75, $100 or other. I bet we're hoping for a lot of others, huh? A whole bunch of others. Well, I just think to myself how many rescues that take place in the area, how many times you have to respond to something to be there before a deputy can get there, just to kind of keep control of the situation. 30 years ago, we had a homicide in Yavapai County a year, and maybe a few rescues, and now it's very, very different around here these days. I mean, rescues this summer, it seemed like I would pull up Sedona Fire's Twitter feed, and it would be, or Facebook page, and it would be every weekend, 3 or 4 in a day. Yep. So there's definitely a call for it, a need for it. We need volunteers, and we need the donations for sure.
Well, over 8,000 square miles, 4 national forests, all are part of 4 national forests, 19 wilderness areas. It's a huge draw for people from out of state, people from out of country. I rescued a guy off Bell Rock from Sweden one time. We thought that the demand would go down with technology, but it's actually increased.
Amazing.
I was telling you earlier, we had call out number 79 Sunday night for this calendar year, and over 100 last year. Mm-hmm. And that's just our unit. That's a very small part of the actual rescues that occur in Yavapai County.
Well, that's the backcountry unit only, ladies and gentlemen. 79 calls for just the backcountry unit. It doesn't include the other units they have. And there's various units that you can sign up for as well. So think about that also. We're out of time. Tip, thanks for coming in. I appreciate it, Tom. Nice to meet both of you guys. Yeah. Hopefully this gets some donations coming your way. YCSOAF.org again. Phone number 771-3260. That's today's Countywide. We thank you for watching and listening, and we'll talk to you again next time.